This is the way.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to This is the Waypoint, the one show here where we talk all things Star Wars on shared screens. Today, we're talking about Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 4, Chapter 20, The Foundling. I'm joined by Jordan and Alec. How y'all doing today?
Doing great.
That's,
Doing good.
that's,
Doing
what I,
good.
that's what I love to hear. And, of course, full spoilers ahead for Episode 4. You haven't seen it, get the hell out now. Come back once you've watched it. Alec, I want to start with you this
Quick
week.
one.
Yeah, exactly.
Easy breezy, in and out, half hour, boom.
32 minutes without credits or anything, dude.
Yeah.
Watch it and come back. Alec, I want to start with you. General thoughts on the episode. Give it to me.
I enjoyed this one. It wasn't necessarily my favorite of the season.
Right.
But it was cool getting to see some background on Grogu. That, and then there's an interesting fight scene with with like that dragon pterodactyl thing.
Yeah.
And then I kind of called the Jurassic World moment there, where that big massive pterodactyl dragon thing died.
Damn, you were thinking that?
Oh yeah, like as soon as I point to the water, it's like, oh, I show it crashing into the water. It's like, oh, it's gonna be the alligator thing from episode 1 is gonna come out.
I thought that thing was one and done. We blew it up with the Naboo N1 Starfighter, and it was gone. I was not expecting more of those things to just pop out of the out of the ocean. Like
And in fact, it was more for me just the way it stuck on that water. It's like
Right.
if it was gonna crash, it was just gonna go. It's like show it going in and boom. It's like it's stuck on it just a little too long. It was
fair enough.
yeah.
Fair enough. I'm all about it. Jordan, your thoughts on the episode?
Great episode. Like that it was a quick one. Basically what you guys are saying, I really liked it overall. That pterodactyl thing, when that thing snatched up the kid, I went, man, they really treat losers bad on this island.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
it was the kid's punishment. And then I do like that there's more alligators in there. You know, it's kind of like Peter Pan. Like that alligator can pop up at any moment, you know? Who it's going
Right.
to eat, we don't know. But no, and then the Grogu flashbacks, I think for me personally, were like the highlight of the episode. I imagine for other people as well. But I thought the A and B plot, I'd say, were both like pretty even. But for me, the highlight was really Grogu's stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah. I enjoyed both the A and B plot too. I feel like this was the quote unquote monster of the week episode
Mhm.
this time around. Except I feel like doing monster of the week, a lot in season 1 and 2. I feel like we've kind of perfected it a little bit. Like we're trimming some of the fat off. We're only 30 minutes in. We don't need a whole
Yeah.
hour of the monster. We don't need to rally a fucking town to go fight this thing. Instead, we can, just get together,
Yeah.
small hunting party, while also, jumping back to the Grogu stuff, which I love quite a bit. And oh my God, I can't wait to get into that with y'all. But starting right off the rip, love that we're seeing just Mandalorians just hanging out, just their
Yeah.
day-to-day stuff. All of them. This was, if I could go to this summer camp for 2 months, dude,
Right?
I'd take it. They're just shooting rifles in the water and shit like that. Just
Mhm.
using two dudes just flamethrower each
Yeah.
other. Like, oh my God, funnest summer camp ever.
I started laughing because, like, they're just a bunch of little LARPing nerds. They're not serious about
Literally.
anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
I guess because it's a religion, this is like Bible camp, but you get to like fence during it. And like, hey, not a big
Yeah.
supporter of Bible camp,
The-
but like, I don't know, maybe
I mean, those darts were even like almost just paintballs.
paintball. Yeah,
Literally. And like, yeah, because I was thinking the same thing too. I was like, well, we always hear Din say, weapons are part of my religion. What does that look like? And this is it. This is
it's a
this is
bunch of
literally it.
dorks in the woods with Nerf darts.
Oh my God. Yeah. Incredible. Like, and it's one of those things too, where typically whenever they film with a bunch of armored characters, they typically get the 501st first in there, which is a group of fans who have screen accurate stormtrooper costumes, right? So like they did it in season 1. They're like, hey, we just need to fill out the scene with stormtroopers. Like you guys want to come on down. And so I was wondering the same thing too, if these are all handpicked by Disney or if Jon Favreau is just like can we just get a bunch of these Mandalorian nerds with their own customized costumes to just come down, film on the volume for a bit, because some of them look really like specifically well tailored and like a little like
Mhm.
crafted and customized particularly to a single Mandalorian, where I'm interested now. I want to know if this was like a big casting call by Disney of like, you got Mandalorian armor, just come on down, or if this was
Yeah.
they're actually hiring people.
I had the
Well-
same exact thought.
Well, at the same time, though, like you see later in the episode where they saw that Bo-Katan had like a shoulder piece missing, and the armor herself was asking, "Do you want the Night Owl on it?" So it seems like they are able to customize their armor like right from there, like when she's making it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So it might be a built-in thing, in a little bit like more that, like, there's definitely, if it is a costume designer, someone's like going in and kind of like thinking about all this stuff,
Mhm.
or maybe they are inviting fans. But regardless, that would be like my dream
Oh,
job.
yeah.
Just getting
I mean,
that,
You got the helmet
call.
already.
Right?
What if that
Yeah,
what if that was you as a Mandalorian? Like, it's just you in jeans and a hoodie, but you've got the Mando helmet.
Oh my god, I'd kill for it, dude, honestly. Yeah, and then love seeing Din just pushing Grogu, just like, hey, I know you're a baby, and I've put down everything to fight and protect for you. Time to go play paintball, kid. Like, what the heck?
Mhm.
And yeah, I was like, really a little too young to be doing this, and
Yeah.
he's really just that hard ass dad who just wants to like push his kid into a sport he doesn't want to do necessarily.
Mhm.
No, Dad, I'm giving up your dream. I mean, listen, it's owned by Disney now. For all we know, the Mandalorian decom is on its way.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I did really like this moment, more between Grogu and Bo-Katan. Just
Yeah.
Right.
that little moment of her just like, "Don't worry, my dad was hard on me too," or just that little, like, the relationship those two are building.
Right. Which, go for it, Jordan.
I was gonna say, I liked those lines as well. That like, she's kind of like, hey, I get it. Some parents are like this. I don't know if I like that Din's doing this with Grogu. I don't know. Like, there's something about it that rubs me the wrong way, especially knowing how like he kind of took him from Luke. Like, I know that he was like, I gave you a choice, but it just kind of felt like he's like, you want to be with Daddy, right? Like,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so then just him to be like, now you're gonna be a Mandalorian like us. It's like, but his Force training.
But I mean,
go for
we
it.
got that in season 2 though, like when it was like Grogu chose like the chain link or the lightsaber, right?
Right.
I think that was a Book of Boba Fett, but yeah,
It was, yeah.
but yeah, but that's kind of what I mean. Where it's like, it's just like, I don't think it's hard to tell with Grogu because like you look at him and you go, he's a toddler, but then you see him having like Nam flashbacks, and you're like, oh yeah, you're like 50, like you've lived a very long and horrible life, and so like it's always hard to tell how much of what they're saying to him he can comprehend. But it did just feel like he more chose the chainmail because he wanted to be with his father and not with the Jedi.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something like, I'm not saying I hate the decision. There's something a little bit about it that rubs me the wrong way, but I like having a protagonist that I don't agree with 100%.
Yeah. I definitely I feel that it's, for me, I'm like, dog, he can't even like form words yet. Why are we doing that? Like, let him finally say this is the way, and then he can maybe start playing paintball with the rest of the kids. But regardless, he schools that kid. And I saw a TikTok right after the premiere where fans were already speculating that was Paz Vizsla's kid. And so I've watched every episode with since with that kind of like lens, and I even rewatched the first episode with that lens of like, Paz Vizsla little overprotective of this snot-nosed kid that we saw in the premiere. Is this really the kid? And this scene kind of built that up a little bit more, where you see him, and it's like even the acting through the helmet, like you can definitely tell like Jon Favreau's just eyeballing Din, and it's kind of like a dad versus dad with like whose son is gonna beat up which one.
Well, going along that line, like I remember seeing a TikTok after the premiere as well because they showed the helmet of the
Right.
kid, and they're like, "Oh, it looks just like Paz Vizsla's."
hmm
So,
Yeah, and so with that lens, I was like, "Oh my god, are we finally doing it? Are we finally like, are we just hinting at it a little bit more, or you know,
mhm.
like, are we finally going to jump into it?" And of course, this kid, just 2 for 2 in terms of getting attacked by an animal out of out of nowhere, and
Yeah.
it's always Paz Vizsla, the first one down, like to be like, "No, don't shoot, like protect the kid," right? So it was definitely giving that vibe, and loved them all, chasing and pursuing on the jetpack, although all of them kind of suck with jetpacks and don't have the right fuel for it. It was giving like 70s camp vibe a lot of this episode.
Oh yeah.
And once I saw it directed by Carl Weathers, I'm like, this makes perfect
Oh,
sense.
Yeah.
I forgot today's episode was directed by him. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because
Which
he
he-
leaked the the title of it like a week ahead of time.
Yeah, you go on Disney Plus and it still just says Chapter 18. It doesn't give you the subtitle, and then like but
Literally.
like for days I've seen like it's called The Foundling, The Foundling.
Mhm. And then of course Bo-Katan rips out there in the ship, the only one thinking like,
I was
hey,
just gonna say that. Yeah.
you guys suck. Your jetpacks aren't gonna reach it. Let me actually track this thing down. They put together a little hunting party, go after it. But while they're doing that, we finally get the flashback to Grogu. And for the longest time, I don't know. Sometimes Star Wars fans, I feel, start speculation a little too early. Or it's like, do we really need backstory for this? Do we really need to know what happened? Like, we already know that
Mhm.
Grogu's ended up at this point. Do we need a whole fleshed out timeline of like, oh well, in 30 ABY, this is what happens, right? No, come
Right.
on. We don't need all this speculation. We don't need to know who Snoke is. We don't need all this background stuff. But I feel like for the last uh what was it, a year 2 years since Book of Boba Fett,
Mhm.
fans have been speculating, how to get out of there, and we finally got the answer. Do you guys know who this is?
No idea.
So I saw things all day on the internet, like people being like, I'm so happy for Ahmed, like this is what they deserve. People hate his character so much. And I'm looking at these like out of context tweets being like, did people hate Riz Ahmed's character? Like I'm thinking of the dude from Rogue One, and I'm like, oh, and then I'm reading that like, oh, and he saved Grogu. I'm like, maybe he like this is when he starts rebelling against the Empire, and like I'm like trying to put it up, and then I
Mhm.
see people post like people referring to this guy by his full name, which I think is Ahmed Best. And I'm like, oh, I
Mhm.
have no idea who this is, and I wasn't even sure if that was the Jedi name or the actor's name at a point. And so then I looked it up, and I put together who it was. But Josh, you can,
Jar Jar motherfucking Binks
yeah.
himself
Oh.
saves
Okay.
Grogu. They fucking did it, dude.
So then that's okay. That's what also threw me off. When I found out it was the actor, I thought we were going to get actual Jar Jar picking up Grogu and making a run for it. To find out that they made him a Jedi, fantastic. Like they made the voice actor a Jedi.
So they're doing it. Elevator's counting down, right? We're going down to the bottom floor. Door opens up. I'm like, oh, this is just another no-name Jedi, right?
Mhm.
Like what? And then I'm like, this dude looks familiar though. And I'm like, I'm 90% sure. I don't want to make the assumption, but I'm 90% sure that is Jar Jar Binks. I can't believe it. And then they're giving him
Mhm.
like, I felt like they went a little like, they definitely give him his moment in terms of he picks up the second lightsaber. He's dual wielding,
Oh
just
yeah.
fucking just
That
cold
was awesome.
cocking motherfuckers back and forth. I'm like, they are giving this dude the redemption arc of a lifetime right now, and I am here for it. Oh
Yeah.
my god!
It's like when they're showing the credits, I'm like, I saw his name. I'm like, that sounds so familiar. I don't know who he plays though. And now it's like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense.
Right, and like I feel like between Kenobi and this now, they're definitely giving like they're aware that those movies are hated, and for 15 years, fans just dogged on the main cast, and everyone's getting their redemption arc, whether it's Hayden and Ewan coming back for
Mhm.
Kenobi, but now they're like, hey, you were the most hated motherfucker in like in the prequels. Let's give you your moment. So I thought that was just so just touching, just like
Mhm.
heartwarming.
Yeah.
And then not only that, saw a little post from one Anthony Carboni on Twitter. And this
Mhm.
dude has been introduced in the Jedi Temple Challenge, the Temple Run kind of goof that they did for YouTube back in the back like
Oh.
when Star Wars first started putting out online content. They had
Mhm.
like a game show for kids where it's just like
I did see
doing
this. Yeah.
right. So that he's already been introduced, and now he gets to make his like full live action debut, and this was it. And I was like, wow, what an incredible. Because also, when once fans start speculating, they're like, oh, Jar Jar
Oh,
Binks
it's
is the
Mace
Emperor.
Windu. Blah blah
It's
blah blah
Mace
blah.
Windu. Jar Jar Binks is Snoke. Jar Jar Binks saved Grogu, and for them to actually
Mhm.
do Jar Jar Binks saved
Right.
Grogu, but with the technicality, I loved it, dude.
Is there a
I
part of you
mean,
that wishes it was actually Jar Jar?
I
Jar
mean,
Jar is on Coruscant, so I mean, it could have happened.
here's the thing now though that I feel like fans are gonna start speculating about is like he picked up Grogu. Where'd he take him? Is there a little
Right?
maybe a little
Yeah.
hideout with some other young Jedi? Maybe Cal Kestis at a young age. Maybe they're hanging
Mhm.
out together,
Yeah.
right? So it's like you leave that door open. So it's like, bro, if the actor who played Jar Jar brings him to Jar Jar, or like just a off world where Jar Jar's like, I'm gonna help these
Uh-huh.
kids find find new like safe lives to be hidden. Like, I
One
would
thing,
love it, dude.
yeah. I'll say one thing about the scene. I noticed. I think it was the shot where they're have the speeder head on.
Yeah.
That CGI did not look good.
No, not a whole lot of it
Yeah, they
didn't
were
look too good this
very much,
episode.
I think, like in honor of the prequels. They were like, let's use this crappiest CGI money can get us.
Right, which is so weird because I felt like last week during all the Coruscant stuff,
That's where all
all
the
that
budget
looked
went.
that all that looked
Last week
incredible.
was new era. They had new CGI. Prequel era, got to go back to the bad CGI.
They're purposefully like downplaying
Yeah,
it because like he goes back to the mountain and I'm like, bro, the mountain doesn't even look as like
Yeah.
as good as
Yeah.
it
especially
did
yeah.
last week, dude. But I love that entire like sequence and
Mhm.
all that stuff. Incredible.
Very
Like
familiar
10
looking
out of
ship.
10. Yeah. And then we had like Naboo guards. Oh my god, dude! If he takes them back to the Gungans on Naboo, dude, and we get to see is it
Boss
Boss Nass?
Nass.
Yeah, Boss Nass. Oh my god, dude, could you imagine? Oh, I'd lose it. But yeah, just and even just the audio cues this time around, like hearing the gunship come up behind him, right? Like all that, like because I'm a sucker for the audio design in Star
Oh
Wars, and hearing that sound come
yeah.
back up, I was taken back to the boss fight you have with one of those ships as Obi-Wan in the Revenge of the Sith game, and I was like, oh my god,
Yep.
like I'm having like PTSD.
Oh yeah, see, I was getting a Battlefront 2 2005 flashbacks with the clone troopers, the ships they were in, and just it was all like, but in a good way. I was like, oh, I missed
Right.
this.
Mhm.
Yeah, and just hearing that audio and then seeing the Naboo ship and then the Naboo blasters have a very distinct sound too, and I was like, oh my
Yeah.
god, this is just prequel. This is prequel love overboard and to
Mhm.
like ramped up to 11, and my god, I loved it, and that's what I think that's what helped make it my favorite like monster of the week episode because like
Yeah.
this is the B plot we're jumping to is this incredible like
Mhm.
prequel love section. I was all for it. But then we do get back to the current day stuff, to the hunting party, and I love that we're getting even more Mandalorian lore. People always, how do they eat, and they like directly reference that of like you're the leader of the hunting party, you get to stay by the fire. We all just kind of fuck off and go find our own
Mhm.
places to be little rats and eat.
But like, how do they know when it's time to come back? How do they know if she has her helmet back on?
And you don't, and that was
Take a
like
peek.
I thought about
Take
that
a
too.
little peek.
Yeah.
Everyone just like group text message. They're like, "Yo, y'all
You
got your
done
helmets
yet?
back on?" Yeah.
Are you decent? They're walking around like this.
Oh, I'd love it. And then yeah, they scale the mountain and like um, that was where I really started feeling like the shots looking up the mountain. I'm like, okay, this is like kind of really like 70s, like John
Mhm.
Rambo kind of
A lot of
vibe. And then we
grappling
get
hooks.
a lot of grappling hooks. Loved seeing all that stuff. And then we get up there, and Paz Vizsla's finally like, he's my son, he's my boy. If that's a heat signature for someone,
Mhm.
I gotta go. He's being that dad. And
Yeah,
which
because then he's just like a he signature. He doesn't say like what it is, or he can't see what it is. He's just like,
right,
there's something there.
Yeah.
yeah. And so of course, 3 other foundlings. I thought that was a fun twist
Yeah.
to discover these birds, get the bird's mom essentially killed, and then take him back. Like you are literally living by the creed on a literal level right now. That's a little
Yeah.
too intense.
So yeah, I don't know the creed. Are they supposed to protect like foundlings or children that don't have parents? Is that like part of it, or
Given everything that we've seen so far about the creed, I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if that was the thing in terms of
Gotcha.
if you find a foundling in combat that you like are to take it in and
raise it?
indoctrinate it into this religion that it might
Yeah,
not.
which makes sense with how Din came into becoming a Mandalorian and how Din found Grogu, but like it's just one of those things where it seems like 90% of the creed is don't take off that fucking helmet. Like
Literally.
Yeah.
yeah. But part of me is like, are they actually gonna raise those birds or are they gonna eat them?
Oh, they're gonna raise
right.
them. We're gonna get a scene later where they're full grown. They're riding them.
We're gonna
I
have
was
like the
thinking-
Mandalorian Khaleesi. He's just gonna have like the queen.
Oh yeah.
Right. I was thinking the exact same thing. It's like when Boba Fett turns to Danny Trejo in Book of Boba Fett.
Yep.
He's like, what does it take to ride one of these Rancors? I was like, please somebody ask about riding these motherfucking things, because I can't wait for that payoff when shit's
Mhm.
going down and they're like, hold on, we just need reinforcements, and the reinforcements are these 3 dragons being ridden by Mandalorians, dude. I can't wait. I hope that's where we go with this. At some
The
point.
Mandalorians have dual flamethrowers.
Right? Like, dude, oh my god. They're just dual flamethrower up, and meanwhile the dragons just raining hellfire down. Oh my god, please Favreau, please Filoni, give it to me. But yeah, after that, of course, the kid is spit up out the mouth of the dragon. It's like, oh my god, dude, why are we going so hard on that? This kid just sucks.
Yeah, because why? I'm just a little confused. Like they saw him take him back to the nest. Why? Why? And he was like hanging on to the dragon thing was hanging on to him. Why is he flying back with him in his mouth now?
Yeah, literally. It was a little weird, but I'm there for it. And of course, Paz Vizsla's like, no, I'll go in the mouth now, and just fly straight, like directly in there. Like, yikes. In which the chase sequence afterwards, I loved quite a bit. Felt very Spider-Man-esque, the way they're just whipping their whipping the grappling hooks around. That was the vibe I was getting. The like free falling and just barely catching yourself with the jetpack. Loved all that. How we feel about the rest of this episode?
Yeah, it was a very interesting fight scene because, like they said at the beginning, no weapons or blasters, just so you don't take a chance of injuring the foundling. And I thought it was interesting because like the speed of the that dragon, like it was interesting to see like, oh, with only the jetpacks could they be keeping up with that, and somehow they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting with just the grapples and like they just have knives.
Right.
They're
In
able
which
to take this thing down.
When Din was flying up with his knife, and that thing looked like it was blowing in the wind, like it was made out of pure rubber, dude. Like it was, it did not look good. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, in which I like that they reiterated that point of like don't use blasters. They're like, we've lost people that way. Paz Vizsla straight up like, motherfuckers have died that way, and then we just see Mandalorian helmets just hanging out in this nest, and it's like,
Yeah.
Get off the planet, y'all.
Yeah.
Like you guys are
These things
so
just
straight.
randomly swing by. Maybe don't do your crazy blaster fire like that all randomly. Like
Right? Like you guys think that the mines of Mandalore are cursed, bro? Look at where you're living, dude. Like it might be safer down there with just some shit robot and some like
yeah.
weird cavemen than this planet with incredible alligators and dragons and shit like that. Oh my god, dude! I get out of there. Just leave.
Yeah. That's part of the training. You gotta be
Oh
ready for
yeah,
anything.
yeah. And then I did like that we ended off with the Bo-Katan bit, right? I wasn't sure because of course, like last episode, as she gets welcomed into the group, you can't see her facial expression, right? She's kind of looking around, a little bit more confused, and
Mhm.
I wasn't sure if that confusion was like, do I really want to be here, or am I how much am I going to commit to this? So it was cool seeing her fully commit, and join this group of religious zealots that she's like literally called out last season, and for
Yeah.
her to then want the sigil of the what
The
is it,
mythosaur.
the mythosaur right on
Yeah.
her armor. I felt like that was her like fully coming back
Now,
into the group.
I'm curious. For me, I had kind of the thought maybe next episode, or at least maybe not next episode, but sometime during the season, does Bo-Katan go back to the living waters to see if the mythosaur is down there?
I honestly I could see that at this point because with all the predictions we've given, we've just at least myself, I've been just so far off, dude. I have no
Right.
idea. It's like, and if you would have asked me like, what's your bingo card for this episode, bro? Jar Jar Binks saving Grogu would not have been on it, dude. I that would like we can go anywhere at this point. I feel
It
so
sounds like a
Yeah.
shit post fake spoiler that like you write on Twitter and people are like, no, but that's actually what happened.
right, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, the Bo-Katan stuff interested me because like she did seem to be more, the majority of the episode feels like maybe she's still trying to be polite, but that also could be me kind of projecting what I assumed about her. And then at the end, she's
Right.
like, oh no, I want your sigil. And then when she said, this is the way, I don't want to say this out loud because I'm afraid he might show up, but like, was Brett right last week when me and him were like, oh, she might be into this, she might not be? Like, I might have to give this one to Brett, as much as I hate to say it. We're like,
Damn.
if she didn't feel that way at first, she might be coming around to it for a multitude of reasons. It could be that this is the only way she feels that she could get power. It could be that maybe she forgot what it's like to be in a group of Mandalorians, and so it's like, well, do I want to be lonely, or do I want to be with just people that are a little bit more extreme,
Right.
type thing? But yeah, the mythosaur stuff of the armor just being like, no, it feels real, but it wasn't. Like she's almost implying like there's no way you saw one.
Mhm.
That was really
Right.
interesting.
Yeah, her gaslighting her basically in terms of like, yeah, you see a lot of visions on the path, like on the way, and she's like, nah, dude, like I saw this thing. The man, like the
Mhm.
armor's like, nah, ain't no way, dude. So yeah, I think we might still go back to Mandalore to see the mythosaur, or at least get off the planet, please, for the love of God, because what's the mythosaur gonna do that this shit's already not happening? So I could definitely see it going that way. I don't even want to make predictions at this point because I'll probably just be wrong.
I mean,
but
yeah,
yeah, I think it's open.
we've been so far off.
Yeah, I think that possibility is on the table. Could you
Mhm.
imagine if they go to fight it like this thing's evil, and then they're like, we need reinforcements, and then it's Sabrine Wren
Oh,
on the back of those flying dragons, dude.
yes.
Oh my god, if you have any crazy predictions for the rest of the season, comment them down below. Let us know what you thought of this episode. Like, subscribe if you haven't already. Join us next week for the next episode of This Is the Waypoint. If you like video games, we got game reviews up the wazoo with Destiny Lightfall. We got Resident Evil 4 coming up, as well as our regular shows, including Media Club and Shared Screens podcast. So be sure to check that all out. But for this week, thank you for joining us, and we will see you at the next. This is the Waypoint.